Oil prices collapses, danger ahead for the Nigerian economy. Now, for those people who are not aware, the oil price around the world has actually fallen, like fallen way much, like really, really fallen. Now, the budget for 2020 is actually based on about $60 per barrel. That is what we actually base the entire budget on. That is estimation was $60 per barrel. But there is a very big problem now. The oil price around the world has fallen to about $30 per barrel. That means that what we have planned for, the oil price has actually gone half of that. That's a very big tragedy. That's a very big problem. I mean, it means that demand has actually fallen. Always remember demand and supply. I keep mentioning this. Demand and supply really, really drives the economy, drives the economic world. If there is higher demand, there's going to be higher price. That is, and of course, higher demand usually means that there is lower supply. By saying higher demand, it means you're saying demand is higher than supply. If the demand is higher than supply, it means that people are going to be willing to pay higher in order to get that product. And that's actually how the oil producing countries are able to regulate the price of oil. That is, they try to make sure that they balance how much oil they produce. So if Saudi Arabia suddenly starts producing oil a lot, it means that the price of oil is going to reduce drastically. And if they stop producing oil, at least reduce the capacity of producing oil, it means the price of oil is going to start increasing dramatically. That's how it works. That is, there's not enough oil, so people are going to be having more demand. The demand is going to surpass the supply, which means the price of oil is going to go up. That is, people are actually willing to pay more to get whatever limited amount of oil that is available. Now, what actually caused this problem is because of the coronavirus. When the coronavirus actually started shutting down many parts of the economies around the world and causing problem for the transport economy, especially the aircraft and the airways and stuff like that. That is, aircraft flying around the world. Most people are not trying to fly anymore. Most people are scared of contracting the diseases around the world. I mean, so many planes are actually flying half-filled around the world right now. People aren't going on planes as much as possible because you're scared you could actually contract this disease. So that's the reason. So it has actually affected the companies running all these aircrafts, and that is going to affect the oil producing industry also. So automatically from that, there is already low demand for oil because there isn't much people traveling. So it means there's going to be less need for the oil to carry out those travels, which means there's already a drop in demand, which means what? It means drop in price. So oil prices are actually going down because of that. Even though there is a whole lot of things going around the world, crises tend to push the oil prices up, but this particular crisis isn't going to push it up because the transport industry that uses oil always is actually in less need of oil because people aren't traveling as much as possible anymore because of the fear of the coronavirus being moved around. And also because of that, the Saudi Arabian government actually went over to Russia and asked them. I mean, Saudi Arabia is one of the most powerful oil producing country around the world, and they produce a whole lot of oil, just as Russia. Those two countries actually depend somewhat on oil, especially Russia depends a lot on oil for their revenue. And then they went over to Russia that they should hold back on the amount of oil they're producing, that is, reduce the amount of oil. If you reduce the amount of oil, it's going to create an artificial scarcity, and that scarcity is actually going to drive up the price of oil around the world, so that at least investors in oil prices or in oil companies around the world are going to be sure that they're not going to sell their assets, they're not going to sell their stocks, which means the oil industry is not going to collapse from people not having confidence in the oil industry. So it's a way of trying to guard the economy of the world, especially from the aspect of the oil segment. That's actually what they were trying to do. But when Russia refused to do that, Russia kept on producing oil as usual, as though nothing was happening. So Saudi Arabia decided, okay, heck with this. We're going to run the business for you guys. You guys are making a whole lot of money from oil. So we're just going to dump so much oil into the industry. We're going to dump so much oil into the market that whatever you guys are producing is going to become almost completely worthless. So Saudi Arabia started producing excessive amount of oil, and that actually drove down the price of oil around the world. And you know what that is going to cause for countries like us in Africa, Nigeria, that depends a lot on oil. It means we got screwed. We basically became screwed because the price of oil has now gone down because of these two behemoths, these two big countries fighting each other over disagreements on the price of oil. Now we are actually the ones suffering, just like some people would say, when two elephants are fighting, the grasses around the place are the ones that are going to suffer. So I guess we're kind of like the grasses between Russia and Saudi Arabia in this conflict, and we are the ones suffering. We can't keep up with this. It's very unsustainable. We have about 50 cargo ships out there, probably increasing right now, loaded with oil. We have no place to sell them. We have no buyers for them right now. It means the price of oil will keep falling. And to add to that, Saudi Arabia has actually reduced the price that they're selling their oil. $8 reduction by Saudi Arabia. It's supposed to be around $30. They are even selling it $22. So it's actually thrown out the balance of the oil industry and the oil market completely. And also Iraq has thrown their own down completely by $5, which means they're selling $25 and we are selling $30. How are we supposed to compete with these countries even at this very low price? It's completely unsustainable. We are suffering, which means we're going to be having so much issues in sponsoring many of the budgets. Many of the things we're trying to do, the projects we're trying to do in the country, it becomes a problem. So fulfilling what we have in the budget becomes a very serious matter right now, very serious problem, almost an impossibility unless a miracle happens and pushes back the price of oil. So that's a very big problem. And honestly, this is actually telling us that we have to move away from an extractive economy. Our economy is basically based on extracting natural resources from the earth, which is not sustainable because it depends on those people who are going to be buying it. It depends on the circumstances around. And of course, in this kind of a situation right now, so many countries are actually developing alternative ways and alternative energies, which means fossil fuel might be a thing of the past, or at least dramatically reduced in the use of, we might have a dramatic reduce in the use of fossil fuel in the next few decades, which means countries like us that depend a whole lot on fossil fuels might be in serious problem if we don't move away from extractive economy, that is extracting natural resources from the earth and selling that, which is very lazy. As a matter of fact, we might be in for a rude awakening in a couple of years. We need to move to a very innovative economy and mindset. According to Dr. Lamido Sanusi, we have to move to that sort of mindset, innovative, create things of value, not things that we are just extracted from the earth. Create things of value. That's what we need to do. Things of value that people need. That's what we need to do. Check all the countries around the world that are richer than us, far richer. The United States, China, many of those countries actually produce things. They are not dependent on oil. And some people don't really realize this. America is actually one of the highest producing country when it comes to oil. When it comes to petroleum, they produce a lot, but they don't major in that. They don't do that they don't use it as the main a source of the GDP, of increasing their GDP or whatever, or of the government's revenue. Most of the government revenue comes from taxes. That is, people are actually very productive and then they pay taxes to the government, and that's where they get it from. That's why if you're going to see anything being done in America, they're always going to say it's from taxpayers' money. Not talking about whether they are exporting oil or whatever. But in Nigeria, we're always thinking about oil. And we always understand that depends on the whims of things happening around the world. Natural disasters, a whole bunch of things could happen and affect the price of oil. We're actually living on the razor's edge in our economy. It's very dangerous. We need to rethink the basis of our economy and change for the better in this nation. So thank you very much, everyone. I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Make sure you subscribe, like the video, and click on the notification bell and share with your friends. Thank you very much, and see you guys next time.